Sup guys, it's Chris. We're talking about last night's HBO doubleheader. Obviously the big fight, Cotto Foreman. First off, Martirosyan Green. Man, all I gotta say is pretty boring fight, man. Pretty tedious. Every round kind of played out the same. Rarely any exciting moments. I said beforehand that neither of these guys had done anything to really, neither had done anything that really stood out to me. And once again, that proved to be the case. I don't know what's going on with Joe Green. Got some good amateur credentials, but I just didn't really see anything in there to expect much from him in the future. He just didn't let his hands go enough and didn't seem to have an effective game plan. I really don't know what his strategy was. Vanes, he looked pretty good. He's got a little more potential than Green, it appears. 154 is not the deepest division, although it's got some good names up top. So I wouldn't mind seeing Vanes mix it up with some of the bottom half of the top 10 or something like that. But, good win for Vanes. And bad loss for Green. He was having trouble getting fights before this. This performance is definitely not going to help. I will give Green credit for this, though. Him and Cotto both. I'm not a Yankees fan. I'm a West Coast guy. But I thought Joe Green and Miguel Cotto both had great ring gear. In tribute to the Yankees, they had the pinstripes and stuff. Thought that was some cool shit. Anyways, on to Cotto Foreman. Alright, first off, shouts out to subscriber 1982 ANY. He told me, he wasn't the only one that picked both Martirosyan and Cotto to win, but he told me beforehand they were going to win. He was going to come back and let me know afterwards, and he did, but he did it respectfully. He wasn't talking shit or bragging. So shouts out to you, man. You definitely called these fights right. As for Cotto Foreman, first off, credit to Miguel Cotto. Looked to have a lot more left in the tank than I had thought. The reason I picked Yuri Foreman was because I said in my prediction, I thought that Miguel Cotto was, used up. I thought he was a damaged goods, especially after that Pacquiao fight. He hadn't fought since that. Took a pretty good ass whooping in that. But he looked solid. Plus, it was his first time up at 154. I thought he was going to be a lot slower. He looked solid at the weight. He looked to be in tremendous shape. I don't know what he weighed the night of the fight, but it doesn't look like he put on a bunch of excess weight. He looked to be in really, really good shape. His physique looked strong. His foot movement, or his footwork, was really good. Foreman was a little bit faster, but for the most part, Miguel Cotto was able to keep up with him. I thought Foreman was going to be able to box and stay away, but Cotto was on him, nonstop, applying the pressure, the effective pressure at that. Sometimes fighters can apply pressure, but it's not effective. But Miguel Cotto was applying effective pressure throughout. He was outboxing Yuri for the majority of the fight. Yuri just could never. He was on the run the whole time, for the most part, actually. There was the fourth round. Yuri Foreman came out and landed a big straight right hand. And actually, I don't want to say it shook Miguel Cotto, but it definitely staggered him. And Yuri landed another big right in that round. But unfortunately for Yuri, that was pretty much his best moments of the fight, as far as coming close to having success in the fight itself. But Miguel Cotto actually reestablished himself in that round, and latter half of the round took the fight back over, or took control of the fight once again. Move on to later in the fight, and Miguel Cotto was pretty much beating up Yuri Foreman. He wasn't beating him down, but he was beating him up. You look at Yuri Foreman's face in the corner; it was pretty red, pretty marked up. And Yuri wasn't really doing much to Miguel Cotto. Then Yuri Foreman slipped, and it appeared he slipped on the canvas at first, but he gets up, and there's something wrong with his leg. He was wearing a brace on the leg. They didn't say specifically what it was. I'm thinking it's some type of ACL, MCL, PCL tear or something, because when you have one of those, it's hard to put any pressure on your leg, and your leg will fall out from under you. So, Mercanti was telling him, walk it off, you're a champ. suck it up, shit like that. You can't really walk off an injury if it's something like that. It's not like a sprain or something like that. You can't walk that shit off. It's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. So, I understand what Mercanti was doing. He wanted the fight to continue, but I don't know if I necessarily agreed with the way he was going about it. Then, I believe it was the next round, Foreman had slipped again, basically hobbling around on one leg, and eventually his corner would throw in the towel. Everyone gets in the ring. It appears the fight's over. No, it's not over. Arthur Mercanti Jr. decides, as the ref, if the towel's thrown in, he doesn't have to allow the fight to be over. He decided he didn't want the fight to end that way. However, I am about protecting a fighter. When we see fighters getting beat up, say like Israel Vasquez against Rafael Marquez, I'm all about protecting the fighter. Now, sure, at that point, Foreman wasn't getting beat down severely, but he was a one-legged fighter, and there was a potential for him to get, hurt in there, in all honesty. So, anyways, and plus, once the cornerman steps on the ring apron, fight's automatically over, disqualification. Regardless if Mercanti is going to accept the towel being thrown in or not. The fight's a disqualification, fight's over, but Mercanti decided to override all protocol and clear the ring and have the fight continue. Now, I was pretty pissed off. I totally disagree with the decision. But the one good thing that did come out of it is, from that point on until the fight ended, was the most exciting of the fight. Foreman couldn't really get away, so he just decided to stand and trade. He was throwing like crazy. Cotto was going for the kill. He was having no mercy on his injured prey. Nor should he. But all credit to Yuri Foreman. Mercanti asked him if he wanted to stop the fight. His corner gave him a chance in between rounds. He went out there and fight like a champ, It's funny because Yuri Foreman throughout his career has been categorized as a safety-first fighter. Well, that sure as hell wasn't the case here, man. That guy showed the heart of a lion in there. Foreman did what he could. He was getting hit with some clean counters, but he was standing in there and, going toe-to-toe and trying to, fight valiantly in a fight that, he pretty much wasn't going to win because you can't really put a lot of, you can sit down on your punches, but with that leg out, you can't really put a lot of power into your shots. So, anyways, come out for the last round. Miguel's chasing Yuri down, hits him with that big body shot. One of Cotto's trademark punches. Yuri goes down, and Mercanti finally stops the fight. Was it from the body punch to knock him down? Probably, but, obviously you got to factor in the injury as well. So, although I disagreed with what Mercanti did, last night I was like, fuck Arthur Mercanti. I was pissed. But, I guess all's well that ends well, Fortunately, Yuri Foreman didn't get hurt. We got a pretty definitive end to the fight. Yuri Foreman showed his mettle in there. Mettle as in M-E-T-T-L-E. And Miguel Cotto showed a killer instinct. Showed glimpses of his former, self. Probably gained a lot of confidence in that fight, including the way it ended. Just a good fight. And, the best thing about the fight is that it was an exciting fight for the most part, especially the way it ended. I didn't expect it to be an exciting fight. I thought it would be kind of boring for the most part, but it was a good fight. It was a really good fight, really entertaining throughout. Even when it was pretty much a one-sided fight. So, once again, credit to Yuri Foreman for staying in there, showing a lot of heart, the heart of a champion. And credit to Miguel Cotto for a really good, solid performance. Looked good at the weight, showed he still got plenty left in the tank. He wasn't tested too much in this fight. He wasn't really hit too much. So we don't know how much, if he gets into another war, or if he gets a pressure applied on him by a bigger fighter, how he'll deal with it. But I thought he looked really good at the weight. Rejuvenated almost. So we'll see. As for what's next for him, Margarito rematch has been floated out there by Aram. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I wouldn't mind seeing it. There's Paul Williams. Now, I would favor Paul Williams, but I think that's a pretty good fight, Williams has a lot of flaws defensively. He's a lot bigger, but he doesn't even have to use his length properly. I think inside, Miguel could do some pretty good body work and do some good work, much like Quintana did in his first fight against Williams. Got Sergio Martinez. I would heavily favor Sergio in that fight, but I wouldn't mind seeing it. Alfredo Angulo. That's a fight I'd really like to see. Could be somewhat reminiscent of a Cotto Margarito 1. I'd like to see that fight. I'd probably favor Miguel Cotto because he's much more well-rounded boxer, but and Cotto being the naturally bigger, stronger man and the way he applies pressure, they could make for an exciting fight. Plus, you got the whole Mexican-Puerto Rican rivalry. And word is Andre Berto was saying on Twitter he'd like to fight Miguel Cotto. That'd probably happen at welterweight. Wouldn't mind seeing that either, Anyways, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the fight. Did you agree with Mercanti's decision to let the fight continue? What do you think of Martirosyan Green? Who do you think Miguel Cotto should fight next? Of the names I mentioned or anyone else out there? And that's pretty much it, Good night of fights, though. Really enjoyed them. That's it for now. Till next time, check me out on Twitter if you're interested. No big deal. Links on the information part in the video as always. And until then, or until next time, guys, I'm out.